This is Miss Crystal. Today, Miss Tiffany and Miss Jennifer are going to go over processing with you.
Hi there. So I just drew two blue top tubes. I am going to put them immediately in the centrifuge because they don't need to clot. They have anticoagulant in them, giving us plasma. We want them to spin down immediately. So we're going to pour off the plasma once they're done spinning. I'm going to pour off one tube just to save time, but I've already created a label and a tube ready to go. So when the plasma is ready, I'm going to pour off into this tube. And when I pour off into this tube, it's going to go back into the centrifuge and spin down again, and we're going to pour off that tube. So we pour it off twice and spin it down twice. While my stuff is spinning, I'm going to let Tiffany do her thing.
Hi class. Okay, so I've just finished drawing my patient and I'm going to take it over to this processing area. I'm going to put my tubes in this rack to be clotting for half an hour. And when I'm here, I notice that the centrifuge is already stopped spinning and it is ready to be opened up. So inside, I'm going to take my gold top tubes out first, and I'm going to read the labels because with the gold tops, they do not always get poured off. So this one is a PSA. That does not get poured off, so it's going to go into the Riverside rack. This one is an HCG. That one also does not get poured off. It's important to make sure you read your labels so you know if you're going to pour off the tube or not. Now the one tube that we're always going to pour off is a red top. So remember, always pour off the red tops because if you don't do that and you put it in the bag to send to Riverside, it's going to get all mixed back up. So we're going to take this tube, we're going to come over here to the pour off area, and I'm going to take my label, pour off tube, and my tube, and check. They both say Crystal Garvey 619 of 85. So then what I'm going to do, take the tube, pop off the lid, then I'm going to gently, maybe, push this down until it gets about almost to the cells. Then I'm just going to slowly put that over. Then you want to throw this immediately into the sharps container and put your lid on. Check your label to see if it needs refrigerated or frozen, and then you're going to put that in the appropriate place. We'll come back over to the centrifuge, put your balance tube in the rack, and then check to see if there's anything that is able to be spun. So here I have one that was drawn at 12:45, and it is now 3:13, so that is plenty of time. I'm going to check the tubes and make sure that there is a pretty good amount of blood or the pour off liquid in each one, and then I'm going to take them over to the centrifuge and put one straight across from the other, just like that. Put the lid down, lock it, and then hit start. And then I will come back and check on that in about 10-15 minutes. Now we'll head over to Jennifer and check on hers.
So my tubes are done spinning now. So I'm going to take the one I want to pour off out. And I'm going to match it up to make sure that it has the same name on both tubes. And I see that it does. So you want to make sure and line them up together so that you don't cause a mislabel. I'm going to carefully pop off the blue. And then I'm going to use a pipette because you cannot use a serum filter into these tubes. The diameter inside is too small. So I'm taking off the plasma. Careful not to go too deep where I'm going to pull the red cells up. If I do that, I have to spin it down again. Put it into the pour off tube. Put the cap on. Now I have the plasma from the first spin into my second pour off tube. I'm going to put it back into the centrifuge. We're going to spin it down again. Okay, so my second spin is done, I'm sorry. So I pull it out. Again, I'm matching up the names on the tubes. And I look in the bottom to see if there's a red ring. A lot of times after the second spin, you'll notice that there's a red ring that's collected down at the bottom of the tube. And again, we don't want the red cells in there. So that's the point of having the second spin, to get all the rest of the red cells to go down to the bottom of the tube so that we don't send them on to disrupt the specimen. So I'll pull the cap off of that one. I'll pipette this. This one I did not notice red cells at the bottom. It's going to go into the other tube. Okay, so I have taken my second spin and taken the plasma and put it into the third tube. This one is done. We are done processing this tube with as far as the spinning goes. So I will discard my utensils. Generally, these specimens need to be frozen, so I will check that, but as of right now, we're done. So all the spins are done, and it is ready to be sent down to Riverside.